Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friends and Music Podcast. Today, I am joined with my former roommate, former bandmate, and good friend, Mike. Mike, thanks for doing this with me.
We're more than good friends at this point.
What are we then? Tell everybody.
Like an unofficial, like will they, won't they kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Just confusing to people.
Yeah. We've been accused of being a couple quite a few times.
Quite a few times.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
So, the first thing I want to say about you is that you are so nice. You're so funny. You're just a ray of sunshine. If you walk into a room, you have this hidden talent where you can make anybody laugh at any given point. You're so fun to be around.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, dude. I'm excited that we're going to do this. We're going to laugh a lot.
I've ever noticed this. I think I make people nervous and afraid of me.
No.
At least that's what I'm going for. So maybe I'm not doing a good job.
Yeah, you're not doing a good job because it always comes across as like, oh, someone's having a bad day. Mike walks in the room. Boom. It's better.
I go for more of like a grizzly bear, like, approach with caution kind of a thing.
Yeah, it never comes across as that. It's more like a gummy bear, like I want more. Like this is the best thing I've ever had.
You should know.
I think back a lot to when you'd have me help you take pictures with people. Like you would do sometimes like engagement pictures, and I would hold the, what's that called? Like the little light projector thing. And dude, us together, we would just make people laugh just because of the stupid banter that we have. And we're also accused a lot of being flirty when we're together, like with each other or other people around us.
Accused or like, brought out more.
Yeah.
Where it's more welcomed.
I was thinking that you were going to say that you weren't flirty because you're definitely a flirty person. You're the most flirty person that I know.
The other night has got me just laughing.
What?
The other night where we're eating burgers and these two girls just come up to us and start talking. And I blamed it all on you. Because I thought it was your fault for just starting to talk to them.
Uh-huh.
And they wanted to party. They wanted to hang.
Yeah. You left them high and dry, man.
I left them high and dry.
And then you regretted it. We got back to your house and you're like, wait, two girls wanted to hang out. We had each other. That's all we needed.
Yeah. Well, that's because I was busy that night. You know, I was hanging out with you.
Yeah. Little backstory is we were sitting like in a patio, like downtown Salt Lake, like right against the road. Mike gets up to go inside to get something from in the restaurant. And these two ladies walk up and they're like, is the food good? And Mike, flirtatious instantly, oh, the food's great. You want to hang out? And me in the background, I just go thumbs down, grumpy face. And so one of the ladies flipped me off and was laughing. And then you walk inside, so they start talking to me. And then you come back outside and you comment on the lady's accent because she's from South Carolina. You're like, your accent's adorable. And so she's like, well, can we sit with you guys? And so they come over, sit, we hang out, talk for a little bit. We end up leaving, and Mike's like, what did you do to get them to come sit with us? It's like, me? I'm not the one flirting with them.
I was just talking my mind, I was just being honest.
Well, you got a girlfriend out of it. Or two or three.
I can't help but being flirty sometimes.
You're the most flirtatious person I know.
I don't know.
All right, well, this isn't the flirting friends and podcast. This is the friends and music.
This is how to pick up random women on the streets.
Well, you do a great job.
We did it a whole once.
Yeah, you can put an episode on that. You can have a seminar on it. Like I'm sure some people would pay to attend your seminar of how to pick up on women.
Anyhow.
That's it. Okay, well, we can wrap this up now and be done. Let's go back to when we first met because I think it's hilarious.
What do you remember? How
you tell me?
Okay, well, so here's what I remember. I remember the day that we met, that you and I met.
What was the date?
No, I don't remember the date, but I remember exactly how it went down. So
go on.
At the time, I was working at this really traditional call center where you had to wear like a button-up shirt and a tie.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a call center, but they still made everyone come in like button-up shirt and a tie. I had just moved. I guess both of us had just moved into that one townhouse or apartment, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where any of my stuff was.
Nothing.
I was out of town. I came back into town. My stuff was in boxes. I knew where nothing was. So I was just like, I started going through other people's bedrooms to see if I could find a tie because I needed a tie for work. And so the first bedroom I opened up or like knocked on the door and opened up, you were just sitting on your bed.
Crying.
And the first thing, you were crying. I don't remember. The first thing I was just like, what's up, dude? Like, can I borrow a tie from you? And you lent me a tie and then the rest was history. And then we just started having sleepovers after that.
Yeah, every night.
Friendly sleepovers.
Since then, every night. The backstory that I'm really excited to get is when we have Andrea's episode because she's gonna go in great detail because all three of us when we were in math class the semester before.
That's right. But that was before we like, shook hands, talked.
Yeah, we never talked once. We never made eye contact. But you would get up and leave during that class a ton because your phone was ringing or work, something would call, right? And so every time you got up, me and Andrew would come up with some backstory, like, oh, he's a drug dealer, oh, he's in the mafia, like just the most crazy, wild things we could think of.
And
so
I was like in my shirt and a tie because I had to go to work. But I was just like doing job interviews. So all those calls were just like people who were potentially giving me a job because I was just looking for work,
Yeah, we had no idea what you're doing. Nobody dressed up in class. Like everybody's wearing sweats. And then there's Mike looking professional.
Just because that stupid call center that made me wear a shirt and tie.
But then, the next semester when you walked in my room, one, I thought I was going to get robbed for a second there. And then second, like I just remember staring at you, go, oh, I know you. You're the guy. And so I called Andrea right after that. And I was like, I know the guy. I met him. Come over. So I want to say it was that night, like once you got off work, right? Like, didn't we have like a barbecue with Brent or was it the following day, like that weekend or something?
Yeah, it was probably the following day, I'm assuming. I don't remember exactly what happened immediately after that. We just lived together.
Yeah, but then we've been...
Actually, I got kicked out of that apartment because of Charlie Dog.
Yeah.
Because
he's vicious.
One of the guys that we lived with was scared of Charlie.
Well, he's a vicious, scary dog.
Charlie the dog, dude, the sweetest, most like chill dog in the world.
We'll put a picture up so everybody can see. But I remember rat terrier mix, right? What was it?
Actually, so his new mom and dad are good friends of mine.
Okay.
They ended up doing like a DNA test.
Oh, cool. Uh-huh.
And I forget what it is, but completely.
We weren't close at all.
Yeah, nope.
What did you used to tell people? Then let's just go off
rat
of
that. Rat terrier mixed with like border collie, just like a terrier mix.
Yeah. Okay.
But I forget what it is. Like wiener dog, something like that. Something super random.
Cute little
I'll find out.
Cuddly dog. So before we go into the music that we played together, I want to know what got you into music initially. Let's talk about your backstory.
Way back.
Way back.
It goes way back to like 2005, 6. I mean, I don't remember what year, but I started going to shows in Los Angeles. There was a music venue called, I want to say it was Moe's Bar and Grill, something like that. But it was just like around the corner from my apartment, from where I lived growing up. And it was all ages. And like the first show I went to was like a fundraiser that they were doing.
Nice.
So my friends like knew about it and I just went with them. And the first show was Let Live. Dang, what was the other band? It was oh man, I have to look it up. I don't remember anymore, but it was one of my favorite bands for a long time because I saw them live and just fell in love with them.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the other local bands, but it was very like metalcore band, like metalcore scene, like 2000s, like after hardcore and that whole era. So it was a fun time. So I just immediately was just like attached and just drawn to this energy, this like aggression even of like I would go and just like mosh and like go crazy with the moshing.
Yeah. And how old were you at the time?
13, 14, 15.
What a crazy first show, dude.
Yeah, it was fast, like fast bands. One of the other like headlining bands though, I'm like, that's the band, I can't remember their name. It was like very like kind of almost indie, like chill.
Interesting.
Yeah. But they were friends. They were all friends.
To some indie.
Yeah. But they were all like homies, so they were all like playing together. So
nice, dude.
So yeah, that was my first show, and then since then I didn't go to too many local shows. Like the local shows I did go to were just like my friends' bands.
Okay.
So it's no like, I mean, I grew up with like seeing Touche Amore, and at that time it was A Dying Dream, but now they are The Ghost Inside.
Nice.
So they had a different band name before, same guys. So I would see them because they're from LA.
Yeah.
And some other like random bands, I can't remember their names, but yeah. So that was my like when I started going to shows and being part of quote unquote the scene.
I don't think we've ever talked about The Ghost Inside, but I saw them once at Warped, like they were on the stage next to the band I was waiting for. So I saw their set really good. And what I appreciate from them is they do the same thing you and I do, always rocking an LA hat because they're from there. So, I mean, you're more from there than I am, just born there, but you have the time spent there.
It's, it counts.
But it makes me appreciate them because any music video, anytime they're on stage, one of them at least is wearing a Dodger hat or LA Kings or something. So
LA Pride, baby.
I didn't know that your first like introduction with concerts was such a heavy introduction.
Yeah. even before that, actually. So before that, like the reason I was like intrigued or like I was into this music. So I lived with some cousins growing up in LA in like this tiny apartment, this like 2-bedroom apartment. There's like, I don't know, 5-6 of us in this apartment. My cousins were really into, at that time, like they were in middle school, high school. So it was like Metallica, like Ron Zombie, Papa Road, that kind of stuff. And so that was like my introduction to like heavy music. Before that, I was just like into nothing really, pop maybe, I guess.
Okay.
But they were the ones who kind of introduced me to like heavier music, and because they were so cool, like I loved these guys, and like I looked up to them, like they were my heroes, and so that's how I got introduced to like heavier side of music, and that's always been my background, is like heavier, hardcore, metalcore. Those were my first bands I was listening to. So at that time I was like maybe 8 or 10 listening to like Metallica. And that's how it all started. And from then I was just like intrigued by this genre of music.
That's really cool, because first meeting you, it was heavier music, but then like even like the melodic side of that, like I remember first meeting you, Minus the Bear was a band that you really liked at the time.
Yep.
And then of course I pushed my music on you, and that was pretty much all you listened to. I'm sorry.
No, I loved it.
But you are the person that I know that has the most diverse taste in music. Like you listen to anything and everything, really. Like you're not somebody that's like, oh, I'm not going to listen to that because it's not my thing. Like if someone's playing music that of course you're going to support them. Like you're a very supportive friend. But outside of that, like when I drive around with you, holy cow, do we listen to so much different music? And it's not bad at all. But tell me, like, where does the diversity in music come from?
I think more so now. I'm more open to it, because back when I was a kid in like high school, I would be stuck up about it, like some people are in the scene.
That's fine.
like this is the one and the only way to go, and fuck that noise. Like I like to listen to what I like to listen to, and I grew up in a house where it was very Spanish music, like salsa, merengue, bachata, and just like very fun dancing Spanish music. So that's kind of, now that I'm like older and I start to get a little bit homesick, like just missing my family, my parents, my mom, my grandma. And so now it's like I enjoy that music because it's just more nostalgic for me. And like there's just days where it's fun and it's uplifting. So I'll just dance like by myself in my apartment when I'm just doing chores, like, listening to the fun stuff. And so now like I listen to a lot of Spanish music because I just think it's more fun.
For sure. It is fun. It's very dancey. And like the last few months you've been listening to that pretty much majority of the time, and it's a lot of fun. I wish people could see you doing your dance moves as you're talking about it.
I just like to move, dude. I like to shake it. I like to shake what I got,
And then what were we just listening to before we started this? What were you showing me?
Oh, so while we were waiting for the computer to boot up and all that, we were listening to Sally Baby's Silver Dollars.
What kind of
Sally Baby Silver Dollars? This is like Louisiana jazz, like Louisiana street jazz. Because of the horns, dude.
Yeah.
I'm a slut for horns.
There it is. Yeah, there it is. You've always had like the jazz taste though. Like you've always appreciated that, and you'll go back to that. But what got you into jazz? Where'd that come from?
My mom told me a funny story, really interesting story. So when I was a little kid, I would have the worst case of ADHD. Like bad. Like I would just stand on tables and just like move around and like could not. This is stories that my mom told me. Apparently it was bad. She let me know that I was not able to sit still.
Moms are so nice.
And so she told me, like, she realized, like, she caught on. There was a little spot in Marina Del Rey in LA, like by the beach, where they would do jazz on like Saturdays and Sundays. And she said that was like the only 2 hours that I would like sit still and listen and like pay attention. And so she told me that story, and I was like, oh, I guess that makes sense, because I am very fascinated. Like I do intently like listen to that genre of music. I don't have a whole deep knowledge of it. Like I couldn't tell you, like the, I don't know, too many artists and stuff and like the history of it. But I do know that I enjoy it. Like I'll sit there and listen, and it's something I'll listen to when I need to study or work or just like concentrate. It just helps. It helps set my mood.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it super well, but I love it. I mean, It's just something that I'm fascinated by.
Right on.
Yeah.
And so now we know your music taste and background. When did you start playing instruments?
So I played guitar in high school for a brief moment.
Okay.
And I would play football and play guitar at the same time. But football took over, like sports took over. I just like was more interested about it. I saw kind of a future with that versus music. So I dropped guitar, didn't play as much and focused on football, but I did play guitar in high school for a little bit. And I played in a band called Duct Tape. I played in a band with my friends. We ended up like just breaking up. I don't know. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
And half that band started another band called Calculator.
Nice.
And they like were fucking good. Like it was good music. It was like an emo band with maybe not emo, but with just like harsh vocals and just pretty guitar and and so they took off. They played 2 records. I found 2 of their records, one randomly in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
I found like their first record. And then recently, I think it was with you, or may have been another friend, I found their second album here at Diabolical Records in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
So I was just so excited to
That's
find
awesome.
like just like random records of theirs and in these random record stores, and I picked them up. But they ended up traveling and playing, and I stopped playing after that. Like I didn't play for years after that, and then after that, it was in High C with you.
Dude, don't blame me.
I played
Don't
bass.
look at me.
It was your fault.
No.
Absolutely,
No.
it was your fault. Undoubtedly your fault.
Before we roll into that,
Okay.
Diabolical Records is a cool little record shop.
Uh-huh.
Not that big. So to find a smaller band, like not saying they're small, but
Right. Small,
like to find it there,
LA
that's
band
cool.
too. I don't know how it made all its way out to like Salt Lake or even Boise, Idaho, like random. And then I found like an insert in that first record. I found they do like a little picture book, and there was a picture of me and my friends and like
That's
screaming
awesome.
to the microphone. Yeah, I was
That's
so
so cool.
so happy to find that, like just years and years later. So that was fun to find.
And wasn't there another instrument at some point in high school, or was it just guitar?
Just guitar.
You never in middle school, high school played?
I did play trombone.
Yeah, I know you did. Don't hide that.
Yeah. I played trombone, and so that's kind of where like the jazz and like the band came from too. Was I played trombone, jazz trombone, in like throughout middle school, and high school, and then even a little bit in college.
I'm really glad that we do this, because I guess I just had my assumptions of your appreciation for jazz came from being in jazz band, and so I did know about that, but I don't think I knew that you played trombone in college. When and where? Tell me about that.
It was just my first year.
Okay,
I played in the college band.
nice.
It was like, that's when I realized like I wasn't good.
Stop.
Like I was like having a hard time keeping up with everyone else. Yeah, like
Okay.
everyone else was like just extremely talented. They were like competitive even, and so
Okay.
that's when I was just like, oh, like I just want to have fun. Like I
Yeah.
know I'm not great, but like I just enjoy music and playing music. Like I just want to, hang out with friends and play music. But
Yeah.
so it didn't really turn into that. So I ended up not going back, just because it was more work than it was enjoyable.
Yeah, and you got to find that balance, especially when it's not your profession. Of
Yeah.
how is this fun for me? And you've always surrounded yourself with musicians and music appreciators, so I think it's really cool, man. Like that's your
Yeah.
community. And then in high school, you're talking about playing guitar, focusing more on football, which I remember you showed me a picture of you on the line football, so we have to use that. We need a picture of Charlie. But how often did you go surfing?
Pretty often. I went pretty often with one of my best friends growing up, David. So it was just typical Southern California growing up. Like we would go surf in the morning before class, and I would show up to class with like sandal on my legs and feet, and like be late to school because I was out surfing in
Yeah.
the morning. And I don't know, often, pretty often.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And what came first for you, skating or surfing?
Skating probably, just because it was easier.
And who and how did you get into that?
What do you even mean? Like, because I didn't have a ride to school,
Yeah.
so I had to find a
Yeah,
way to get to
you
school.
found your wheels, right?
So I had some wheels
Uh-huh.
before I started driving, at least.
Right on.
So if I had time, I would take the bus. If not, I was just hauling ass on a skateboard or a bike to get to school on time.
Just kicking as hard as you can. Yeah, I don't think I ever knew if skating or surfing came first from you, but where you grew up is such a great place to grow up for music, live music,
Yeah.
cool bands, and then skating and surfing is just incorporated in that, which is really cool.
Yeah, surfing wasn't as popular like in my circle. I don't know. I guess just because it was expensive, and And I've ended up finding, like, I just lucked out because I found my surfboard. Like, I found it through another mutual friend, and
Cool.
she was just like, yeah, I have, like, this is another friend of mine. She just, like, ditched this board here in my garage. Like, you can use it. And I ended up just, like, stealing it from my, like,
Nice.
that whole time I was
You
living in
thief.
LA.
Do you remember what kind of board it was?
It was a longboard. No, I don't remember.
Okay.
It's just a longboard. Someone ended up stealing it from my backyard.
Well, that's what you get.
Yeah. So
maybe it's the original owner taking it back. They saw it.
yeah, maybe. Actually, I stored it at my friend's house, and someone stole it from my friend's garage.
Dang
But,
it, dude. How rude.
yeah, who knows?
People are the worst. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it happens.
You want to stop this for a second? We can hug it out.
Sure.
Okay, we'll be right back.
All right.
So you brought it up, and I guess now we can go into the high C debate.
Okay.
So how did you get into that?
So here's what I remember from it, man.
Tell me.
I mean, I guess your story might be different.
Oh, it's gonna be different.
We'll see.
I don't care what you say; it's gonna be different.
So we started living together. Oh, so we started living together in like student housing, but then we both decided to not do that anymore, and we moved into like outside of student housing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you were already in a band, so you were already in a band,
Yep.
and I was just working with TJ, who was the lead singer of High C, and you were looking for a new bassist. I don't know why I was fighting it so much, but I just like, because I thought it wasn't good enough. I thought it was
Yeah.
just like, it's been years since I picked up any instrument. I've never played bass before. Like, I'm just not the guy you're looking for. And you just kept like poking it. You were just like nudging, like, you should do it. You should play. And then you would send me ads of like used basses for like way cheap. And so finally I was just like, all right, like I just caved. I just thought like, let's try it. Let's do it. Especially if it's just going to be like for fun, which it was, it was just, all of it was, for me, it was just hanging out with my friends, like,
Yeah.
and just playing for fun. So eventually you were just sending me all these links for used bass. And so I found just like this Ibanez, like cheap bass. And I didn't even have an amp. You know what I
Yep.
remember is we didn't have an amp, but you had found an amp in your buddy's garage. Or who was that guy that just had like a ton of stuff?
Was it Travis you're talking about?
I think so. He just
Okay.
had like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And you found this just like little kid amp,
Uh-huh.
and it just sounded like fuzz, like pure, exactly. It sounded like pure fuzz. And then I would just use that to practice at home.
Uh-huh.
And I just learned pretty quickly. Like bass was just easy. Like I wasn't too far off just because I was so, I play trombone and I listened to so much music. So it wasn't hard for me to like pick it up and learn my parts for the High C songs. So yeah, I learned them and then started practicing with you guys, and then we started playing shows, and then we started recording, and then
Yeah.
and then it was the whole ride. It was the whole thing.
And then the Taco Bell song came to be. So do you want to play that and sing that right now for everybody?
Oh, I couldn't remember it.
Just a joke song, because at one point the Taco Bell burned down, and so we couldn't go to Taco Bell.
Yeah. It was like remember the like 5th of December, something like that.
Yeah. So it was just me and Mike, and nobody else was allowed to play it. So it was just Mike on the bass just screaming Taco Bell over and over again. And so we'd always joke like that we were just going to end on that song and just play it until we got kicked off stage, until they forced us off.
Because our hearts were broken from the burnt down Taco Bell, which didn't actually burn down. It just like
It was close for like one night, but it broke our hearts because we wanted it that night.
So dramatic.
The fire alarm went off and we couldn't get it. But there was one on the news that burned down at like that same time, so we thought for sure like that was going to happen to our Taco Bell, because there was only one Taco Bell there.
Right.
We couldn't have that.
In that small town.
So I will say, before I tell my side of the story,
Okay.
that it was really cool. It was a really quick turnaround of once you said yes, you got the bass, we found the amp.
Mm-hmm.
You just committed to it, man. Like, you learned the songs, you did the best you could, and it was phenomenal, man. You were so good.
Yeah, thanks. That's how we do that's how we do anything. I like, if I'm going to commit to something, I like to go all in as much as I can.
Yeah. And I get like the worry of, should I go all in? Like, it was just us friends. Like, it was us having fun. Like, I mean, yeah, like we were trying to take it serious, play shows, but still, at the end of the day, it was just our friends hanging out, playing music together.
Yeah.
And you were already part of that crew. Like, you already knew everybody. Like, you were hanging out with the band anyways. Like, setting up like the 2 shows we had before you joined, like going to practice with us. I was like, Mike, you have to play. Mike, you have to play. And I won't go too far into it, but the original bass player, he ended up one of like the guys that kind of got us all together, but quickly lost interest in it and wasn't coming. And
Well,
I
he,
saw
like,
that.
moved away, right? I think he like moved shortly
Yeah.
after that.
But before he moved, like, I don't know what was going on in his life, but he just wouldn't show up to practice. He wouldn't communicate with us. And so, like, I saw that it was coming. And so I told you, like, Mike, dude, we need you. And you're just so nice. You're like, no, there's already a guy in there. Like, I'm not going to kick him out. I'm like, well, you're not kicking him out. Like, we need somebody that's going to be reliable. And you're like, no. And then, so yeah, like, either it was he was leaving, like, told us he was leaving, or had left. And I'm like, Mike, he's gone. I need you. And I really don't remember sending you the listings for the classifieds for bases, but I'm sure I did that. I won't deny that at all, but I don't remember that.
I mean, you still do that. You still send me random like cars and stuff.
No, I would never do that. It's just me trying to start a conversation with you. But yeah, what I remember is, so we were roommates. Well, you were forced to live next door, but you still were in our apartment every day.
Yeah.
Just so funny. And then, yeah, we ended up becoming actual roommates in the next apartment, you, me, and TJ. And yeah, TJ was the vocalist. So, like, I'm sure you heard it from him too.
Yeah.
Did you? Did he try to convince you, or?
I can't remember. I think it was mostly you and Carlton.
Yeah.
And then maybe he said stuff here and there, but it was just like, it was mostly you.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
You have the
Nudging every
passion.
day.
You have the desire. Like, you love music. So why would you, like, who else would have been a better fit for that in our group, at least? That
I
we
mean,
knew,
I guess I was just worried that I wasn't going to be good enough. Was probably the biggest
Well,
concern.
you're playing with me. Like, I'm not good. Like, just for fun. And so, yeah, I was bugging you every day. And, like, I remember sometimes slapping the wall because we shared a wall. Like, there's a wall between ours. And so I just slapped the wall. I was like, did you buy a bass yet? Are you in yet? And it was so funny because during that time, like, when you needed alone time, you'd go into your room and, like, within 30 seconds, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia would be playing on your computer. You'd be playing that. And then not too long after that, you just start giggling because of something in the episode. So I'd slap on the wall. Did you buy a bass yet? Are you practicing?
You know, I think back at that time living together, and that was probably one of like the best times of my life. Was just like, I worked with my bandmates, and then I would play music with my friends. You know, like I worked with TJ and Carlton at that store, at the Verizon store in Rexburg, and we would like leave work, go home for just like 10 minutes to change out of our work clothes, and then go to band practice. And this was like twice a week. Like we practiced 2 or 3 times a week.
Twice
easily.
at least. Yeah.
And so I would like think back, like I think back sometimes on like, oh, like when was I most happiest? And I would just kind of think back like, oh, like when I was just hanging out with my friends, playing music, and kind of just living free, like living like a pirate house. Just like we did whatever we wanted. A lot of it most of the time was just like playing music, but that was a fun time. And that's just kind of like I've like made sure I had these similar elements in my life now where I have like some type of music. Like I don't play anymore, but I do go to occasional shows, although it's not like, it's nothing punk or hardcore, nothing that's in the scene much anymore. I will sometimes, but I just like hanging out with friends and just, I don't know, I just like having a good time.
Yeah.
That's when I learned I was living with you and Teach.
That's
and
cool.
Basically living with Carlton.
Yeah.
Because we were at his house so much.
Oh my gosh, we were there all the time. Because I remember you guys would text like, okay, we're closing. And so either like you guys would pick me up or I would just start driving out. Like once the Verizon store closed, we can start practice. And so I just knew like that was the deal. You guys would like, it was cool that TJ was the manager because he would.
Oh, it was so convenient. 'Cause time off was so hard. It'd be like half the staff needed time off to go play a show.
I remember one show that we did though, like you guys couldn't all get it off really. So like we played like, I think it was like during like what you guys took as your lunch break. So like Carlton went and set up and then he went back and then you had to tear down because like that's how you guys made it fair.
That's how we made it work.
It's so cool.
It's so funny. Like what a situation. What a situation to just like live with your friends, play music and work with them. Like it was such a good time.
Yeah, cool because you lived with me and TJ and then you worked with TJ and Carlton.
Yeah. And at that time, I actually tell people this story all the time. I would tell people how our rent at that time was like $200.
Yeah, I think like $250 total.
It was such like a middle of nowhere town, and there was 3 of us living in an apartment, so it was just like $250. So my entire paycheck would just go towards like music gear or studio sessions, like whatever it was. Like my entire paycheck went towards the band.
You must have been making a lot more money than me because I was struggling.
I
that $250 rent, dude.
I thought we were at the same. I don't remember what I was gonna pay, but my first like full-time job was that.
Yeah.
Like full-time dedicated
That's
job.
cool. Yeah, we lived off of Taco Bell, like we said, Little Caesars Pizza, and McDonald's on the way to practice.
Yeah.
And that was our diet. I don't know if we survived.
I don't know.
And lots of energy drinks, of course.
Obviously.
Uh-huh.
Definitely.
I do like that. I guess I admire this about you, that you've taken into your life, like when you were the most happiest and how you apply that in your life. That's really cool. And that's good, man.
Yeah. Cause there was a period where I like almost, most people struggled and was just having a hard time. And so I would just kind of think like, well, what do I need to change? Like what's missing, what's different? And so, I would think what did make me happy. And that would be one of it for sure. That was very like apparent, like, oh man, like one of the happiest moments of my life was in High C, Carry On Kid, living in Rexburg, living in this apartment, and no school, no responsibilities.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it too. It was easy living, but yeah, so I try to incorporate some of that as much as I can.
Good for you, man. That's awesome. I think if you'll allow me to get a little serious, after we all left that area and then you continued with the job, and it got really stressful, man.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear from you a whole lot. And when I did, it was just you were pulling your hair out, I could tell. And it was sad to see a friend that we all go through it, where you feel like you have to be able to provide for yourself. And so you put this pressure on, well, everybody has to work.
Right.
And then you decided to quit that job and got a different job, man. And holy cow, my friend was back. You were happy again. Like you were just smiling and joking and laughing like you are today. And so like, I'm glad that you've made those choices in your life to better your life. And it's good to see you happy, man.
Thanks. It's there was a point where I thought like the priority, like the number one priority was that security and like working, and it just killed me for sure.
Yeah.
And I was just working a job I wasn't truly happy at, but I stuck with it. One, because of the paycheck. Two, because I was good at it. Even though I didn't like it, I just kind of thought like, well, like if I'm good at it, I should just stick at it, because everything else would be hard. But yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, for sure, man. But good for you, honestly. Good
thanks.
for you. And so to go back to the pressure that I put on you in High C, you say that I was initially the one that, I was the one poking the bear every day, right? Like you have to do this, you have to do this. But what I remember,
what's your story? Yeah, let me hear your side of it.
We had the shared wall, right? So both of our doors opened and looked across the hall to where our bathroom was. And I woke up one day, and you were waiting to pounce for once you heard me wake up, because I opened the door. First thing, I'm gonna go brush my teeth, right? Nope. Redirect. Mike's swinging his door open, and he's like, "I'm in," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You're like, "I'm in," and I'm like, again, I just woke up, rubbing my eyes. What are you talking about? You're like, "I'm in the band," and I'm like, "Sick. About time." Why? And you're like, "Well, I was texting a friend last night, and he convinced me that I should do it." And so I was mad, dude. I was like, "Oh, your friend that's in this big band that tours all the time, since he told you." And so you did it, which I'm glad. I'm glad that man convinced you to do it. But
Who is this man?
Jason Butler from Let Live.
So I have
Whoop-de freaking do. What does this guy know? He's barely in a big band.
I don't remember this. I don't remember this. I remember you like several times after that, you telling me this story, but I don't remember.
I didn't make it up. I didn't dream this. This is a real story.
I'm sure this happened. I'm sure because I did we were like texting and in that kind of more consistent communication. We're not now, but so yeah, I'm sure some of it's true, but
yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just in my memory, that wasn't the reason that I decided to make the decision to join the band. For my memory, it was because of you. You finally just wore me down.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad I wore you down. I'm glad you did it, because honestly, man, we had so much fun together.
100%. And then since then, I've been in 5, 6 different bands, and all of them fun, great experiences. So
yeah.
So it wasn't it was just the start of me, because I stopped going to shows. I went to shows in LA, left LA, and then there was no music scene in Rexburg. And Christian touched on this a little bit too. And I knew some friends who were in bands there, but they didn't they hardly played Rexburg because there was no.
Yeah.
And before I was there, there was
correct,
exciting, vibrant bands going on. But there was just this long lull of the punk scene just didn't exist in the small Christian city.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it was exciting for me to do something different and play music, put these shows together, and The rest was history.
Yeah, we'll come back to all the bands you played in, and then I want to talk about like the house shows you had at your house and booking and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back to Jason Butler just for a second, because again, like, I'm glad you give me credit, but really you're like, yeah, I talked to him, and I think it was like good encouraging words. And I forget, like, didn't you say he was part of like the Boys and Girls Club or something back in the day, or like
youth and government?
Okay.
So I was in this high school. It was through the YMCA. It was called Youth and Government. All of California would take over like a mock trial of like California government. And
Okay.
so like these high school kids would like take over the Capitol building and just like pretend to do all these
Cool.
like, all this stuff and anyway, so I did that throughout high school, and he was like a counselor. He was like a camp guy,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was close to him, because I would see him through all this this stuff. He was part of it too when he was a kid and
Nice.
decided to become a counselor.
But how cool that your first show was him, and then a few years later you meet him. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think he just gave you some encouraging words of like, like, I love music. It's my passion. And so it's like where I find my happy place. And like, he's like, you've been around music, like, you like it. So like, if you feel good about it, like, do it for yourself. I think it was something like along those lines, right? Totally fine, acceptable. But you're like, yeah, Jason said I should do it, so I'm going to do it. And I'm But what was really cool was when we were roommates. So I don't know, should we talk about how we started the band name? Let's talk about TJ for a second. So we were roommates.
Because you know what? Like, High C wasn't the official band name when I first joined.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
so
right.
we'll talk about that. So it was initially me, Kyle, Carlton, and TJ that were in the band. And so we all had different backgrounds of genres of wanting it to be.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
Kyle was kind of like the dad butt rock. Anything though, really, dude. Like, he just loved music, and he was a great bass player.
He was good.
Me, obviously,
he was really good.
I'm pop punk, especially that time. If it wasn't pop punk, I didn't care. And then, how would you explain Carlton though? His taste?
A little bit of everything. Like,
Yeah.
he was definitely into pop punk. Like, I would say less dad like butt rock, but punk, but older pop punk, like 90s pop punk probably.
Yeah, he liked The Offspring a lot at the time. I remember Sum 41, Blink, of course, but I think like radio hits too. But like anything really, like so he was the most easygoing bandmate.
Yeah.
You guys want to do? All right, cool. Let's do that. I have this idea, and we're like, we don't like it, Carlson. Okay, that's fine. What about this? And we're like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, all right, cool. Let's do more of this.
He was also just, I mean, he is extremely talented too.
Yeah.
So he was able to like produce like really cool guitar parts and,
For sure.
and just diverse stuff. So
Yeah.
it was a diverse group that we had there.
And then TJ was, in my opinion, I think post-hardcore, like, right?
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so his initial idea, I think, was, he'll have to tell us, he'll have to correct me, from Shadows to Echoes to Shadows. I remember Shadows for sure was included in it. And
this is like band names?
before you started, before you were part of it. And I remember being like, that's kind of heavy. Like, it's cool. Like, I liked it. Whatever it was, I liked it. And I think we named one of our songs, or took the song name, what we had for the band name initially. But I was like, look where we're at, dude. Like, no one's going to give us a chance if they think like we're just some scary band. Because I still feel that way. But then, before you were even in the band, you were like, you should do something local, like something that's cool around here, which our friend Chase, he was in Madison Lights, which we were in Madison County. So that's how they did it. And I was like, all right, like what? And you're like, what about High C Hot Springs? Which I guess that's saying hot springs. This isn't High C hot in German. And so I was like, that's cool, man. So you named the band before you were even in it. Like, that idea was straight up from you.
Yeah, I do remember that. My other like idea that I had was Kilgore, because there's a Kilgore, Idaho, and I thought
that's
was
cool.
Like, cool, but also like kind of too metal sounding.
But if you were like to look up our name, you'd get the construction material company. They would just pop up. You would never find our music. But so maybe like you just said, and we like bounced ideas back and forth off each other. But it was me and you. Like you though, I'm giving you credit. Like it was your idea. And so we High C Hot Springs, which was like what 30, 45 minutes from where we lived.
Close, we would go out there a lot to go explore around, camp around, and just go hike around.
That one hiking spot, that, like when you go across the river, the bridge right there, if you go left, that hiking spot, I went quite a few times. I like that. But I forget if it's Heise or Hiese.
I don't remember.
And
something
so
like that.
Everybody would get it spelled different. And so finally, like, all right, we're putting our own spin on this. And so it was Hycie, which again, I think was your idea, like how to spell it.
That I don't remember.
But then we realized there's the High C juice box.
Yep.
HI-C. So then, people
which
like the juice box.
we had a shirt out of that, which to me is the coolest shirt design in the world. Our friend Coleman did that design he like redid the juice box into a shirt, and then redid the Echo Man and gave him like a little mustache and an orange hat, because that's what I would wear all the time.
Yeah.
It was like this orange hunting hat, even though I didn't.
Because you're a big hunter, yeah, for sure.
So that's like one of the coolest shirt designs. I put that in a blanket actually. I sent in a bunch of my old shirts that I just wasn't wearing anymore. It made it to. I've got it here actually.
Yeah, you'll have to show me in a second after this.
All right, I can't show you.
Oh, he's
okay.
well,
We're recording.
yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody's
I don't know how this works.
We'll take a picture of it though if that's cool. And
all
then
right, we'll
put
take
that
a
on
picture
there.
of it. Yeah.
So yeah, with TJ, like in the post-hardcore music, I remember he was always like, dude, I just want to go crazy at a show. And he's like, have you ever seen Jason Butler videos? And I just like smile. I was like, yeah, dude, like he's the crazy, and I still feel this way. He's the craziest
He is. He goes all
performer.
out for sure.
If there's something he can climb, he's going to climb it, jump off of it. I don't know how he hasn't broken all of his bones doing that, right? Like I remember like him like kicking over like a 10-foot chain fence. Like because somebody wouldn't let him climb it, he just starts kicking it over it like during set. So I remember TJ being like, "Yo, dude, like he's my favorite." And so you, me, him, Marissa, Danielle, we got tickets. It was Let Live headlining, then the Wonder Years, and then
that's when we watched the Tiny Moving Parts
and Microwave.
So
that was the first time I saw Tiny Moving Parts and Microwave. And that's what got us me. I know you're huge into Microwave, so got you into them. And so it was what's that venue in downtown Boise? Knitting Factory. Yeah, Jinx. So we're walking down the little alley, and we're all just talking, and you just go, Jason. And did you say Westchester? What did you say?
Probably Westchester.
And that's what got him to look up, right? Because he had his hood up. Like I didn't notice him, so he takes his hood off. He goes, Mikey, and like so he runs over, talks to you. So you introduce us to him. Super nice, first of all, super nice. But then TJ's jaw's on the floor. I would love TJ. We need to hear your perspective of this. Your jaw was on the floor. You just met your favorite performer, and just Jason was nice. He said hi to each of us.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I was like, "Yo, dude, like, I'm excited to see what ruckus you're gonna cause." And I asked him, I was like, "So do you go into the venue beforehand and ask, or like see what you can do?" And he's like, "Nah, I kind of just like once I started playing." Jason before playing, very nice, very calm, very soft spoken.
Yep.
Sweetheart. Get him on stage. The most violent man there's ever. And so he told us that he had played there before and he initially was not allowed to play there again. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to take it easy tonight because I had to like say I was going to be calm because they didn't appreciate what I did last time. But I still remember him like jumping up on a cab and then like
like speakers and stuff.
He was like taking the mic cable and like trying to like get it around the drummer and like pull his cymbal over like while he's playing. It was so funny.
Yep.
So I remember telling TJ, I was like, if you ever try to do that to my drum set, you and I are gonna have problems. But it was so cool that TJ got to meet his favorite musician. Before we got to see them, like so much fun.
We I mean, we had like I don't know, not even a falling out, just like people just stopped talking, but yeah, at that time he was super supportive. Like we would text and all the time and just kind of keep in touch, and I would catch him like whenever he was in Salt Lake or places and directions, and I would try to make it out to shows, and every time I would catch him and he would like make time to come hang out for a little bit and just catch up for a little bit. So
very nice of him.
Super good guy. It was fun growing up with him. I looked up him a bunch when at that time. Yeah,
and my experience meeting him was I was caught off guard.
Yeah,
like he was so soft spoken, so nice. I was like, that's not the guy that gets on stage. And an hour later, that's the guy. There he is. It was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, you named the band. You joined the band. We played quite a few shows together.
We played
after
a
you
bunch
joined.
of shows.
You played a lot more after I ended up leaving. But tell us more about the High C experience.
My experience with High C, I think that's just like where it tapped into, like, this is what I enjoy doing with my friends. And then more so than that, like, I kind of was working with other bands and other people to put these shows together and bring other friends out. Like our friends would come out to these shows and just hang out, and we would just play music and then hang out afterwards, like go to Taco Bell or something or just some whatever restaurant that was nearby. And that little town that we lived in Rexburg, Idaho, there was just not much of that going on. So it was fun that we found like the pocket of people who do like this genre of music and who do like going to shows and like moshing a little bit and just getting a little bit of that maybe aggression out. I don't know. I think that's a big part of it. I think that's part of like punk and hardcore is just releasing some of that energy or sharing that energy with like-minded people. Yeah. So it was fun that we were able to do that. We didn't play a whole lot after you had left though. We played for Actually, maybe it was like a year or so.
Yeah, you guys played a good amount of shows. I remember seeing.
Yeah.
Because we played 2 shows together after I left, and then I was in the next band.
Okay.
So that was a few months apart. Like,
Yeah.
the 2 shows.
And then in that same time, that's when I joined Carry On Kid, and that was a bit of a different experience, like a bit in a great way. So High C was very like I love the music, I loved hanging out with my friends, but Carry On Kid, like I loved that music, and because it was more emo versus like pop punk, and that's more what I'm into is more of kind of the emo and just like, you know, the pretty like twinkly guitars, and that's what Christian and Cameron were so great at, and watching them play together was such a mind-blowing experience. And we would practice pretty much every day. Like we would just grab acoustic guitars and go to someone's apartment and then just jam. And it's funny watching those two, like, not even talk to each other, but they would just communicate through their instruments, their guitars. Like Christian would just like, he would just sit there like, yeah, like just twinkling around, just not even paying attention, just like playing on his guitar. And Cameron, the same thing, like not really paying attention, and would just jump in. And I was the only one that noticed, like, this goes perfectly together. So I'm like scrambling, like, where's my phone to record this? Like, we got to make a song out of this. And then I would finally find my phone and hit record, and it's like, all right, do it again. And they'd be like, oh, we weren't paying attention. We don't know what we were doing.
So funny.
So they were trying to like recreate it, and that's how we like wrote our songs. A lot of our songs, it was just like it was just spat out like out of nothing, and it was just so good, so fun.
Like something magical just happened.
Yeah, those two together are just so good, so good. They just communicate so well with each other.
And so they had a lot of music ready when you joined that band, but were you part of more of the writing process?
Yeah, we wrote a couple more songs after that. Okay. They did had a few songs. We had the EP, which I recorded bass. I don't know why I recorded. It wasn't
you're a bass player, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. But there was a bassist before I was there, and he wrote the parts to those songs. So I joined in the band and learned those parts, and then we recorded the EP, which is awesome. I think it's such a great EP, and we didn't know what we were doing. And our friend Curtis, who later became our drummer, recorded for us. And so we decided to just do it as fast as possible for whatever reason. Yeah. We just wanted to get it done. So we did, that EP is like full band. I think we did like drums first on its own. I can't remember. No, maybe not. I think we did everything and then bass over it. Something like that. Like we did full band recording of that EP. Like we didn't separate the instruments or anything. Like we just all got together, put mics everywhere,
nice,
and then just started playing.
Right on.
so that's why it's far from perfect, but it's still a great EP.
No, yeah, it came out great, dude. It sounds good. And then what about with High C? You joined. There was already a couple songs. We were writing songs at the time. So how was your process in that?
I don't remember which songs we wrote, like which ones were already there, because there was few. We ended up writing a lot more than there were already songs, I think.
Yeah.
We ended up writing a whole bunch, but I would just like, I don't know, just like any other DIY musician, like I just watch on YouTube and kind of see like what I should do as a bassist.
Yeah.
And, so I would just try to, Carlton helped me out a ton because, you know, I didn't know how to write. And so I just kind of needed help with that. And then just practicing I would just go off of listening. So I would record like what Carlton was playing, and then I would just like practice that to just like do what he did. And then just followed along with the rest of the band.
And then how many shows did you have where you played in both bands?
How many shows?
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you.
A lot. How
yeah.
was that? Was it exhausting?
No.
Okay.
No, especially at that time. I mean, almost 10 years ago now, I had all the energy in the world. And so there were some shows where I would play High C, and then the next band up was Carry On Kid, or Carry On Kid would play, and then the next one up was High C.
Yeah.
So I would do double sets. No, it was fun. It was great.
Yeah, they were always back to back. I don't think you ever had a break.
It was phenomenal. I loved it.
And you killed it, dude. You always did such a good job.
My first Carry On Kid show, we had no time to practice.
Good. That's how it's supposed to be.
I joined the band, and then I think we practiced like once or twice.
Okay.
And then the day of the show, and then we had a show that
Perfect.
same day.
Yeah.
So I wasn't good at my instrument, but I like knew enough. Like if I hit a wrong note, I'd be like, oh, that wasn't right.
Whoops.
So yeah, my first show, I remember being so nervous because I didn't know the parts very well, but we made it work.
And you did a great job, man. Seriously.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm so glad for me, like, to have somebody in the band that I was in at the time that was passionate about music, that wanted to be there, other outside of work, it was music. I guess we were outside a lot too, camping and hiking, but other than that, it was music.
Yep.
How do we play shows? How do we go to shows?
A lot of our time was revolved around that, like
Mm-hmm.
what was next and what the plans with the band.
Yeah. Anything outside of music when we were there in Idaho that you want to talk about? We'd had some fun adventures.
I mean, like, I can't even, at the top of my head, I can't think of anything.
That's
I mean,
fine. We found some beautiful places to fish.
Yeah, I did a lot of fishing. That was when I first started smoking weed. Like, I'm a big, weed advocate. I'm a big pothead. All healthy and within moderation, whatever. But that was like my first time like doing it consistently.
Okay.
And so that was my first time. Like, that's when I quickly learned like I can't smoke weed and play shows at the same time because I forget all my parts. Like the first few times I was just like, yeah, let's try it. Like it should be fun, being high and playing. And people do it all the time, but I couldn't do it. I just forgot all my parts.
Yeah, there's footage of you just standing there staring at the wall. Just kidding.
I'm sure there is.
Just kidding. You weren't that at all. Yeah, we found some beautiful places to fish, and then are you still into photography?
I not as much as I was
Okay.
before.
'Cause
Like
you were
I don't bust out my big DSLR anymore. I just use my phone. Photography though, like I've always been also fascinated with photography. Like I was definitely one of those kids who would always have a camera going everywhere. Like whether it be a digital camera, I had like little video cameras and I would just like film stuff. And I don't know why. I wish I would have kept stuff from when I was in high school, but it's all like gone now. But,
I'm sorry.
but yeah, so I feel as though I peaked because I got to shoot for Tiger's Draw. I got to shoot for Me Without You and American Football.
Nice.
Which, as you know, that is my all-time favorite band.
Yeah.
They played for Treefort Music Festival in Boise, and I somehow got in to be like one of their official photographers for the event.
Right on.
And once that happened, like since that night, I don't think I have taken my camera out of the gear out of like the suitcase. And that was, who knows how long ago, that was like 5, 6,
At least 5 years ago.
And that was, for me, that was just like it. I was just like, I fucking made it. Like it's not going to get any better than this. So since then, like I haven't used my DSLR as much because it was stressful too. Like they wanted the pictures fast. They wanted me to process it really fast and give it back to them. So I had fun shooting that show, but also like immediately after that, I was like, oh, I got to go home and edit these so I can return it to them. So it was just a little bit stressful, and I don't like mixing stress with my fun stuff.
Oh, for sure.
So since then I was just like, okay, like I'm not going to try to pursue this anymore. It could have been fun, but like, yeah, I didn't like mixing those two things. So since then I just use my phone. I like to do a lot of landscape stuff. I haven't shot shows since then, not very many at least, just a few when I was living in Idaho. But I just use my phone, and then I think more than anything, like I like the post production of taking pictures, like on Lightroom, and I have fun with that, and I take my time and really subtle edits, but I have fun with it. So that's what I do now, just my phone mostly.
I remember we would go on hikes just so you could take pictures of something, right? You're like, oh, there's this view, so we have to go there, and so it was a lot of fun. And I remember like you would pull out your phone, take a picture with your phone, kind of see if you like the spot. And so I pull up my phone because I like to take pictures. I'm terrible at it, but like I want to share what I see with people, and I never can because it's never as beautiful. But I remember standing right next to you, getting the same angle, and I'd be like, why? It could be the same thing, but you always had just a better picture, and I try to copy, and nope, it never looked as good as yours. So you spent the time there, Eastern Idaho. After everybody kind of moved away. I guess that's probably what happened, right? People were just moving away, so that's why you kind of fell out of those two bands. Yeah,
most of my friends were moving away. I left before the rest of Carry On Kid left, but I ended up leaving the band. Like I left Carry On Kid because the commute was too hard. I had left Rexburg. I moved to Boise, and I also kind of realized like, well, there was no future with Carry On Kid. Like the rest of the band didn't really have plans to continue it after they were like planning on leaving Rexburg. Rexburg is just a tough spot. I feel like if we had lived like now, right? Like if the same group just hypothetically lived in the same city and we were doing the same music, like I think there would be a lot of like focus on the band, but
for sure.
But it just wasn't. Like we were college kids, so we kind of were focused more on like future stuff and finishing school and life after college. So
yeah, it's inevitable. You're not going to stay there. Like, you're there just for school, and then
So that was a bummer. It was a really hard decision. I was depressed after that, after like leaving Carry On Kid, but we had finished our full length album. It was released, and then I joined some other bands, and it was fun. It was great. I had a good time, but it wasn't the same dynamic. It wasn't Christian. It wasn't Cameron. It wasn't Curtis. Like, it wasn't the same group. It wasn't my baby.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't my project. So I was just like the bass player, and I would just kind of go in and play music. And so I've had a hard time. And even now, like I won't join bands because I kind of know like it won't be the same passion. It won't be the same energy as it was before with both High C and Carry On Kid.
Well, you know, the guy from Joe Dirt, he says home is where you make it. And so,
yeah,
you know, if you want to join a band, dude, you just got to give it that same love. You can make it happen if you want to. I encourage it, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I've been like playing with the idea of playing music again, but it just hasn't happened. I've got other priorities now. So,
well, yeah, people might be able to hear you're a proud father uncle of many this year. How many kids do you have now?
I'm a father uncle to 2 kids and 1 recent newborn.
Tell me about your kids.
Well, it's my friends who I grew up with for a long time, and they all live here in the Salt Lake area with me, and so yeah, it's fun.
Well, be the proud father. Tell me their names, their ages.
There's Leif, who's crying upstairs.
Yep.
If you guys can hear it, and then there's Noah, who lives in Salt Lake, and then there's Goldie, who was just born like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and you're the most adorable side dad. I'm gonna call you side dad. The most adorable side dad. You treat these kids like they're your own. You take them for walks. You had them in the stroller yesterday.
I mean, I don't know about dad. I think dad is like a way different experience from uncle. Like, I'm definitely doing the hot uncle thing right now.
Side dad. I like hot uncle, side dad. We're gonna have a poll for this episode. Is Mike more of
side dad or hot uncle?
Yeah,
hot uncle. Everyone just vote for hot uncle.
Don't sway their vote. Jeez, what kind of politician are you? Come on, guy. That's not
a good one.
That's not how politics work.
Listen to me. A great one.
You don't just tell the people what to do.
Yes, you do.
No. Agree to disagree. Home is where you make it. So yeah, you moved to Boise. You joined some bands there, and you have another aspect of life of having people in your home, having touring bands in your home, playing house shows. Tell me about that.
So, I mean, I feel like I'm kind of skipping gaps here a little bit, because the reason that I moved to Boise was because of Rob Landerman, owner of Hidden Home Records, and he was looking for a roommate. You know, I was close friends with his one of my closest, dearest friends, Nell Lindsay. Rob and Nell were dating at the time, and so she mentioned like, oh, you know, my boyfriend's looking for a roommate, and I was like, okay, like I'll talk to him and we'll live together. But before that, like, I kind of knew Rob because he really wanted to put Carry On Kid out. Actually, from what I remember, he was like a little bit on the fence, and then Nell was just like, no, this shit's good. Like, you gotta like do something with this and put it out.
Uh-huh.
And we did like a live, like, Instagram or Facebook recording, like a live session of one of our practices. We just like threw it up, and then she's just like, check this out. And then he was just like, yeah, like, I got to put this out. But I was a little bit skeptical at first. Okay. I was skeptical of Rob and Hidden Home Records, because I was just so stuck up, but so passionate, so passionate about the album and the music that we were doing. Like, I thought, and I still do, I still think it's a great album and great music. And like, and we were just like these kids, and it wasn't just like, it was just Christian and Cameron, like, fuck, man, they were just so good together. And the guitar parts that they wrote, like, was unique, because Cameron is very into fun pop punk, like you know, like uppity sound, but Christian is more like emo and just kind of more like, you know, emotion and just kind of raw stuff. So the two together was just like a great combination.
Yeah, that's cool.
So anyway, so Rob like put our album out. I didn't want to at first. He knows this. He knows this story. But then in the end, like, it was the obvious decision. It was the obvious choice. It was like very, very, like, just worked well together. It made sense. It made sense to go through Hidden Home Records and get his help to release the album. And he helped us out, sharing it to some like blogs and websites and stuff like that. And he helped us put the album together and all this stuff, and gave us a ton of good tips. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just kind of winging it. So anyways, he ended up putting the album out. And that was around the same time him and I were living together. Him him and I were living together, but that was the reason I moved out to Boise. And then, yeah, I'm going in circles here, but
No, you're good, man. So also Janelle was there at the time. Did she move out there before you, or did she move there after you?
yeah, she was already there.
Oh, okay, because then you have another friend that you played music with that was there too. Like, that's cool that so many of you ended up over there. And then we had met Rob at shows that we played with together, and he was playing with Big O, Otis Julius now, and then they went on tour together. And then Tyler moved over there. So like, a lot of the community from the east side of the state went to the west side. Just, I mean, even if it was just temporary, that's still really cool that you guys had your group, your community there. How fun.
It was a good time. So I played in 3 bands once I was in Boise. So I played in Bridal, which was me, my good buddy Nate, whose real name is Anthony, but we called him Nate.
Obviously.
And we played in Bridal, and that was just like a fun. We just wanted to hang out. We just wanted to be together, and we played music together. We played just like a few shows, but we ended up playing for See You Space Cowboy, which is so amazing. We ended up opening up for Mom Jeans and Grad Life.
That's cool.
And we played for some other bigger bands, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
And my first experience in Boise, the first night or second night that I had moved out there, we actually played in a basement.
Nice.
So we played in this basement called, dang, I can't remember, but I remember the host. His name was Bug, and he was like big in the scene too, or something. Like he just knew a ton of bigger bands, and we watched this band called Elephant Rifle, and they were kind of like, I'll actually have to show it to you because Elephant Rifle, like, it's sick music. And I actually wrote down their description. I was just kind of like going through just like all these memories and like writing the stuff down, and so I wrote down their bio because I thought it was so funny.
Didn't they change their band name though to something different after that?
No, they're still Elephant Rifle.
Okay.
I just looked it up.
But one of the guys is in a different band then, right? Because you were showing me their music when we went and got sandwiches at that deli the other day, and so I think you showed me both. Did you work with one of them or something? You showed me both bands, and so that's why I thought. I'm mixing it up though, but I thought Elephant Rifle.
When did we get sandwiches?
We got ice cream afterwards. We went to that deli, like yesterday, I think it was. Last night, like 12 hours ago. No, it was like 3 weeks ago.
So here's Elephant Rifle's bio because I thought it was so good. Too heavy for the indie kids, too psychedelic for the punk rockers, too arty for the headbangers, too drunk for the straight edge, too complicated for the drunk, too gross for the sober, too sexy for shirts, too sweaty for hugs.
So where do they fit in? If they're too much, where's their people?
It's a little bit of everything. You'll have to look it up.
That's
it's
cool.
A freaking awesome band. And they just passed by recently. I missed it like a day.
Oh, bummer.
I would have gone to that just to go check them out. But yeah, and so that was when I it was this like nasty basement. I showed up and they're like, yeah, it's $5 for the cover. And I was like, oh shoot, I didn't even think about this. Do you take card? And he's like, no, dude, this is like a house show. Yeah. We don't take card. So Rob spotted me like the $5 for admissions or
You've
whatever.
never paid him back.
Probably have, yeah, actually. But yeah, that's when I was just like, oh, this is it. This is where I belong right now.
Yeah.
It's just like for this scene, for this crowd. And so I spent a solid like 3, 4, 5 years in Boise after that.
Nice. And then you met a ton of people. You had a ton of them stay at your house.
Oh yeah. So after that, because of Janelle and Bridal, like we started doing house shows. At that house I lived with Rob. We did like acoustic shows just because our neighbors didn't love us and they didn't love the music. so we try to keep it chill. And then after that, I was at the right place at the right time and had just like the right support. Like my mom helped me out, but I ended up buying a house just outside of Boise in Caldwell, Idaho. And then that's when I was just like, I know exactly what I'm doing with this space. And so the living room and the kitchen and like dining area was just one big open space. So it was just like a decent size for house shows. And so I would like, for every house show, I would like take the TV into my room. I would like put the dining table outside or in the garage or something. At first I tried doing shows in the garage, but it was just too hot. There was no AC there. Yeah. So I ended up doing inside the house. And tons of bands came by and played at my house, and I made so many good friends who would just come and play shows at my house. And there was like Facebook groups at the time too of like bands who were just passing through and needed somewhere to crash, and so I would always like either my friends or myself would just be like, yeah, just come by. Here's the code to get into the house. Just like make yourself at home. And people would crash all the time. But the house venue, I could never come up with the right name for it. So Mike's House just stuck. So it was Mike's House. And one of the first shows that we did with, I can't remember, it was Get Married, Tiny Stills, and I can't remember the local bands, but Get Married and Tiny Stills were traveling together, and someone had found, like, I was just living off of waffles, like Eggo waffles at the time. So my fridge, my freezer was just filled with like waffles. And so someone found them and started making waffles and then just like throwing it into the crowd. People were just like eating waffles. And so we would like throw it. So people were playing sets with like waffles in their mouth, and we got pictures of that. I'll have to find them. And so then like Mike's Waffle House kind of stuck.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, Mike's House was like the music venue I did there, and we played I have a list of all the bands that played through, and some house flyers. But yeah, I was going through that recently actually because of like this podcast. I was like going through all the flyers, and I was like, oh yeah, that was a good show. All of them were just all good, fun shows.
We need to make you a Mike's Waffle House shirt with a yellow Waffle House lettering. Like that'd be sick. With Eggo waffles. Yeah. So, I wasn't living in Boise. I wasn't part of that cool group of Rob and Janelle and Tyler. I wasn't invited.
You were all over the place.
I was in Arizona at the time, I think. But you and Tyler came down for a concert. Talked a little bit about it. It was Can't Swim, Microwave, Hot Mulligan,
Like Pacific, who I love,
and who else? There's a couple other bands. Trophy Eyes.
Yeah,
there was one more.
Oh, maybe it was
Seaway.
Seaway. That's what I was talking about. Not Like Pacific. Seaway.
Like Pacific. Let's talk about that because you brought that up. We met them. We met them at Warped Tour.
Such nice guys. Such nice guys.
Any more to that?
The bassist was also kind of a big brown dude with like short hair, what I had at the time, and so I would just like go up. We have a picture together because we're just like, we look alike, and he was just rolling with it.
Yeah, your doppelganger for sure.
And what's funny is like I think a couple years after that they played at the Complex. I think you and I went to that show. And then we found the same group, and they just like recognized it. They remembered us because we were just like the goofy kids who were just like, we look alike. So we hung out with them a little bit more and just chatted with them.
They were nice. They were cool guys.
Yeah.
But that show in, I think it was Mesa, Arizona. There's a band from Arizona, Sundressed. And so you must have had him at some point because we're watching the show, and you just start yelling. Is his name Trevor? Is that the vocalist?
Trevor. Yeah.
So you start yelling, Trevor, and you like introduce me to him, talk about like another super nice guy. I'm like, how do you know him? Like, what? He's like, he stayed at my house.
Yeah, he stayed with me and Rob, and so Rob like booked his shows. And there was one year, funny story about Sundress. There was one year that Rob had moved out, like he moved to New York and doing his thing out there, and Sundress came along. And Trevor, like him and I went to go get food really quick. Like him and I just took a break and just like went to go get some food and some drinks. And he's like, man, it's weird being in Boise without Rob. He's like, that's part of Boise. You come to Boise, you see Rob. And I was like, oh man, like he's not here no more.
He's gonna love to hear that though.
Yeah,
Mr. Big City New York guy now. It was really cool. Like this week, Christian's episode came out, and so Rob reached out like right after and had really kind words. So thanks, Rob. I look forward to us talking and him telling his stories.
He loves this shit for sure.
Yeah,
he'd like you mentioned like how Christian like knows music and how people know music. Rob knows music.
Yeah.
He just, that's just like what he does. He likes listening to podcasts about it, and he's showed me so many documentaries on music. So all like the music documentaries that I've seen was because of Rob. Like we would just hang out and he would throw one on and we would watch it. Like he's really passionate about just like learning history of music and listening to people's stories and like their stories about music and their history. So
I mean, Daniel and Christian's episode came out that day, and he was texting all of us, telling us his notes and like what he thought, and it was so nice, so sweet of him to reach out. But yeah, I mean, I watched the Descendants documentary because he showed it to Christian and Christian showed it to me. So that
funny
family tree of him pushing stuff on people. And I mean, I love it. Like I'm similar. I mean, not as knowledgeable as him for sure, but like just the love for it. So get ready, Rob, because now I'm going to quiz you. You better get ready. I'm going to take notes.
He would love to be a part of this too.
And then you brought up Cameron. Cameron's here. He's playing in a show. It's Denver?
He's in Colorado. Yeah.
Say it again.
Denver, Colorado.
So confusing.
And so
I love it though. It's just hard because I'm from Colorado, so I want to say Denver, Colorado. But you have to think about it.
He's very passionate about that project, so I'm happy for him. They just recently formed their full band because
Cool.
I think before it was just him and a buddy of his, so it was just kind of like a acoustic duo type of thing.
Yeah.
But now, like very recently, he has his full band. Yeah, he's telling me all about it. I catch up with him every so often.
It's cool that you still get to see him, and they're playing a show in Ogden. I saw yesterday that they're playing a show. So too bad that this won't be released before then to help give them a shout out. But maybe we'll share on the Instagram so people know about it.
For sure. And I think I'm out of town for that show, otherwise I would be there.
Yeah. But still, it's awesome that people are still doing things. You know, Rob's got his record label. Like, people are still playing shows, still involved. Like, we're doing this so we can talk about it. We're not doing anything. We're just talking about it. That's us now. Yeah. We're the posers.
We're just talking about it now.
So, any more from the Boise experience? Because, I mean, like, you seem to have so much fun at that time. You met so many cool people.
I mean, how do I put that whole experience into just a couple of words for this, like, 30-minute or hour podcast, however long we're going to do this?
4 hours.
We're going to be here for 4 hours?
Yeah.
We're going to be here for 4 hours?
That's why you got comfy.
Okay. I mean, I think that's just... I relearned, like, the definition of... Or not the definition, but, like, the aspect of DIY, of not being scared or intimidated by something that you don't know or have a full understanding of. Yeah, it was because of that, because I would put these house shows together. Like, I had help. Like, I had, there was another cool dude in Boise who worked. His name was Robbie, and he helped me a ton put shows together, and so did Rob, and so did Janelle. And so, like, I had help, but it was still, like, it can be intimidating putting a show together and finding bands and like promoting it and all this stuff. Like, like, it does take, I think to some extent, like, it does take some sort of skill, like some kind of experience. And I didn't have a whole lot of experience in that, but we still did it. And then in that time too, like, I started helping Rob with Hidden Home Records. And so to go into that, like, I just first helped out. I was just helping out Rob because he was moving to New York City, but couldn't take the whole, like, inventory with him, like, because it was a lot. We had a lot of CDs, a lot of records, a whole lot of stuff. So I offered him. I was like, oh, we'll just, store it at my house, in my garage. Like, it's not going to take up a lot of space. I've got this garage here. And so originally I was just shipping out the material. Like, that was it. We would get an order. He would just email the order to me or tell me about it, like text me or something, and I would pack it, put a little note or some extras or just some random. Sometimes I put, like, googly eyes. Sometimes I put just random, like, Pokemon cards or, like, just random stuff into orders and send it off just for people to kind of get a laugh or just be like, what the heck is this? And so that's when I started helping him out with that. And then after that, I left Boise and moved out to Washington, D.C. for my job. And that's where it was, like, crazy stressful because I was, like, in upper management at that point and just had a hard time keeping up with this balance of work. Like, work just took over so much time and energy, and there was very little left over for the label or literally anything else. So yeah, but that's when I started helping Rob with more of, like, the back end of things and helping him decide, like, bands that we should help out or put out.
Yeah.
And I would also listen to the submissions and stuff, and that was really cool to be a part of that. Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it. And yeah. So I don't help out as much now. I think we both just have other priorities at the moment, but Rob does still have plans coming up for Hidden Home Records. So it's not like, I wouldn't even call it, like, in hiatus. We're just prioritizing some other things at the moment.
Life happens, man, for sure. Yeah. I look forward to talking to him about it so he can tell us more of what direction they're going in and what they're doing.
Yep.
But it's cool, all the bands that we've met, either from your house shows or bands that we've played with, or we've met a lot of cool people, man. It's been a lot of fun. And you've met more. That's the point I'm trying to make, is you've met so many more people.
Yeah, and it's just through friends, through just hanging out with friends and going to shows and just friends introducing me to other friends. And it's funny now, like, I grew up in LA. This is actually kind of funny. I grew up in LA, and every time I go to LA, or when I have the time, I'll meet up with friends who I met at Mike's house, like, through the music venue. So I'll meet up with Jake Margot of Get Married, who's now in Sweet Gloom. And he's a good dude, like, just a fun guy to be around. And so I'll go hit him up and see him, and I've met a lot of friends through him. And like Roses, for example, who just came to Salt Lake a week ago, and so I got to chat with Kayla for just a minute, and that was through my buddy Jake. Yeah.
And that's a band that's taken off because they just opened for, was it Knuckle Puck recently in the Wonder Years?
I believe so.
Yeah.
This show was Like Roses, Grayscale, and then
Oh, nice.
Microwave and Mayday Parade.
How was Mayday Parade? Tell me about that.
Catch it.
What? You bought a ticket for a headliner? You didn't see him?
Yeah, no.
What?
I went for Like Roses and Microwave.
Yeah. How was Microwave?
So fun every time. Like
Yeah.
that first time seeing them, I was just like, just in love with that band and their energy, and just they're just so cool, and I just connect with their music so well. So
It was funny because when we were at that show in Arizona I talked about earlier, I talked to the drummer, well, the current drummer of Can't Swim at the time.
mm-hmm.
We were just BSing about drums, right? And so I was saying something about that, and you're like, when did that happen? Because you were talking to the vocalist of Microwave, dude, just drooling over everything he said. Like, you just fell in love with that man. Like,
absolutely in love with that man. What we were talking about, though, because we made a connection, because he also grew up LDS,
Mhm.
and so we made the connection. Do you remember the owner of Skinny's, Nathan?
oh, he knew him. Oh, yeah, he did know
So,
him.
so
Yeah.
they knew each other, and so
What'd you call it?
was it Skizzy's?
I thought you said Skinnies.
No, Skizzy's.
Gotcha. Okay. Uh-huh.
That, before it was Sammy's, that space just had a bunch of different names.
Yeah.
But anyways,
for sure. Yeah, we played the same place, but 5 different names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nathan from Microwave was like, he mentioned that he was best friends with Nathan Payne growing up.
Oh, cool.
And they would like just get into trouble together at like their
That's awesome.
like the kids camp or whatever.
Yeah. Right on.
And so he was just telling me about that, and I was like, yeah, dude, like we play with him. He like, and I told him how he doesn't like the music that we play.
Nope, not
but
at all.
we're like the ones that bring the crowd, so
Yep.
he kept going with it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's what you guys talked about.
Yep.
That was a fun show. Fun times. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot. We didn't talk about this beforehand.
Tell me.
I have a serious question to ask you.
Mm-mm.
And if it's too personal, you can just turn your microphone off. There's the switch right there.
It's personal. I'm gonna leave.
When you eat string cheese,
Uh-huh.
do you string it or do you bite it?
Both.
You go both ways.
I go both ways.
Why?
Well, because that's the way life should be. Everyone should go both ways for
Okay.
everything.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean why? I don't know. I just like bite into it and then rip it off and then eat the pieces.
It's called string cheese, you dummy. It's not chunk cheese.
It's
It's not called
into
bite
it,
cheese. No. It's called string
and
cheese.
then I'll use my mouth to string it off.
Oh, so you found a loophole.
I mean, I just enjoy the cheese. I'm an expert at consuming cheese.
You are an expert.
100%. Look at me.
Is there a panel that you have to meet with before you become an expert for
I am the.
cheese
It's just
consumption?
Me. No, it's just me.
You're the cheese
So, like,
consumption panel.
I'll bite into it.
It's called string cheese.
And then I'll like bite it from the side and then rip it off. And then like a
And
spaghetti noodle, like
we definitely need to record videos so people can see you. You danced a few times during those. And then you just slurping down your string cheese. That was a sight to see.
my office that I work at now, like just MVPs just of having snacks. Like we always have
You say that
tons of
every
food.
time I go to raid your snack closet. There's nothing there. There's
'Cause it's
expired
that good.
Snickers.
It's all
what they
gone by
have,
the
dude.
time you come up. Once a month we stock up.
You're like, yeah, there's drinks and snacks. I've been in there 3 times now. Once with Tyler, and you're like, oh, you guys are waiting for me. Go get some snacks. We found some crusty Sour Patch, whatever those are called, dude. Like, they're supposed to be flimsy, like, so you can slap each other with. No, they were hard as a rock,
Always
dude.
tons of snack. You just come at the wrong time.
Yeah, I don't believe you. There's
Come,
no snacks.
come mid-month, and then there's just like it
What's
just
today?
goes by fast.
Today's the 23rd. Is today mid-month? Let's go.
Now it's already gone.
Come on, dude.
I ate it all.
I'll see you next month, I guess.
But anyways, part of that snack run is cheese. We always have a ton of cheese. So,
String cheese or like those little cubes of cheese or what? All
so
of
we
it?
have string cheese and then Baby Bell.
Oh, those are good.
Baby
dude.
Bell cheese.
Those are
Shout out
fancy.
Baby Bell.
Let's see if we can get a Baby Bell sponsor, dude, because that's some good cheese right
Yeah, I
there.
love Baby Bell cheese.
I like the little Tillamook. There's still one in your fridge,
Oh
I'm sure,
yeah,
that I
yeah.
left there for
there's
you.
still one in there. It's waiting.
Eat
for
it,
you.
dude. It's
Is
good.
it-
No, that's
I'm
you.
not- that's not my cheese.
You're
That's
the,
your cheese.
You're the cheese
I'm not
panel
gonna eat your
guy.
cheese. I'm not gonna eat your cheese, dude.
Dude, please eat my cheese.
That is like that's the number one disrespect.
I know, but it's in your house. Please feel free. Eat my cheese.
All right, I'm gonna eat it
It's pretty good though.
because I've been eyeing it every time I open the fridge.
I can't believe you left it there this entire time.
Because it's
That
not
was-
my cheese.
That
I'm
was
not
3
gonna
or
eat
4
your
weeks
cheese.
ago.
Imagine,
it might be
imagine
green
leaving-
now. Don't eat
imagine
it.
storing cheese in someone else's fridge and then someone else eats it.
It's your fridge.
Rude.
That's my rules. My fridge is my food. If you leave food in my fridge, I will eat that.
And that's not how it goes.
Tomato, potato. Okay? This is my podcast, guy. Don't come on here and insult me like this. Is there anything else you want to add, dude, for Rexburg, Boise, Carry On Kid? Where can you find
What else do you want to know?
where can you find the music? Carry On Kid, 'cause that's up there.
We're still on Spotify, so we're still up on Spotify. Although I recommend the Bandcamp version because then you get the real introduction to the first track.
There you go. See, that's something that Christian didn't tell us.
Yeah, it's on the Bandcamp, so you can hear the real introduction into the first track.
Nice.
With that clip that he did mention on the last episode.
On. Cool. Right on.
Yeah. But otherwise, like, you can listen to the rest of it on Spotify.
And then any other bands from Hidden Home Records that you want to tell us about?
Nope.
Shout out?
Nope.
Yeah, screw them.
None of them matter.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, truth be told, I think, like, myself and Rob, but mostly Rob, has done such a good job to put out bands that we genuinely just enjoy and have fun with. So one of our most recent releases is Short Lived, which is the drummer guitarist from Sundressed. So it started off a different project, and he reached out to us, and me and Rob were just kind of slowing down a little bit, like, like, we can't afford it, we just don't have the time right now. And I listened to that album, and I was like, Rob, like, we got to put this out.
Yeah.
This is really good stuff. And I listened to it like 3 times, and I was just like, every time I listened to it, it's just like, I liked it more and more. So that's one of the most recent ones I really enjoyed.
And what's that one called?
It's Short Lived. I can't remember the album name.
Okay.
But it's like
we'll find it,
the most last recent, like,
right on,
2 or 3 releases.
Cool.
Super good album, super fun. Like,
nice.
it's emo. So that's my sweet spot. It's emo.
Is it twinkly like you like?
There's some twinkly stuff.
Good.
There's some twinkles in
He's
there.
smiling so big right now.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
That's the most recent one. I do often show people Shrug Dealer.
Yeah.
Like that skate punk. Like, that is also a genre that I really loved because Rob showed me so much of it. Like, similar to, like, pub almost.
Nice. Yeah, cool.
And Russ and Rob, there was one visit that I did out to New York. You know, I lived in DC, so I was super close to New York. Actually, it was before I was living in DC, but I went to go visit them because they were living together at the time, and they were doing just like this impromptu band practice in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think one of them or both were supposed to be working from home, but instead they just like busted out guitars and started practicing.
Yeah,
and they were just like almost like just shouting each other, like just like shouting at each other, like what they were going to do next. Like, right, you go up, I go low, kind of a thing. And then they were just like, it was just like so fun to watch them practice together too, because they just like the way they just like mix together just makes sense, and they create really good stuff together. So yeah,
what a fun experience to have just to see that.
Yeah, and I was sleeping on the floor. And I think it was like, I just had slept in, so it was like close to noon. And I was just like barely waking up. So I'm just like laying in bed, like watching these two just like jam on their guitars, like just full volume.
What a great way to wake up. I don't like mornings. Well, we're definitely going to have to do a second one because we have a lot more to talk about. I haven't even looked at the notes once yet. And so we have so much more to talk about.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to plan a time, cause we're at the 4 hour mark, dude. Like we've consumed 4 hours thus far. But thanks for doing this with me, man.
Sure.
Anything else you want to add before I wrap it up?
No, I mean, you asked me that I could do a plug. My only plug would be just to listen to Carry On Kid one more time, because I still am passionate about that album. I still think it's by far one of the best albums out there. I'm a little biased, but I do think it's a great record. And just, I remember, so recently I went off Facebook like for years, and I got back just like a couple days ago because I'm trying to help some friends find some renters for some stuff. And I was just going through all like the old like posts and flyers and stuff, and I remember me just like talking about Carry On Kids so much, and it was just like me writing these like Facebook posts about the album, and I remember like writing them, and I was reading them thinking like, oh man, like I did feel this passionate about that album. Like, it is a fun, and it was so much work that it went into that album, that full-length album, and I have 2 copies of it, and I'm so proud of it. I have a Carry On Kid tattoo on my leg, of the sad bag, and yeah, I just love that band. I love that album. So for anyone listening, feel free to go listen to it again just to get some joy out of it, like I did. And my second plug would be to check out the Hidden Home Record discography and just see what you like, because like I said, me and Rob did like pick some really great bands, and there's some really good stuff on there. yeah, Rob did a great job of like picking good music to release and help other bands with. So
Yeah, right on.
yeah.
Well, thanks for your time, dude. Thanks for doing this with me today. I appreciate it.
Sure, dude.
You're going to go get a boat here pretty soon, so
Yeah.
good luck with that.
All right.
And whatever else you do
Gotta go
this
pick up a boat
beautiful.
right now.
I'm on a boat. Love you, man. Have a good one.
Thanks.